We are live tonight, ladies and gentlemen, for another edition of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. We are NASCAR Busch Series racing here at the Daytona International Speedway for the running of the Winn-Dixie 250. 100 laps, 250 miles set for the second race of the season at the Daytona International Speedway and the final one for the Busch Series. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We have full race live streams with realistic commentary on the daily, whether it is the realistic races and the real races on the race weekends or the NASCAR races during the week on the video game side of things here on the channel. We commentate it all realistically, all in the hopes of one day hopefully getting into the booth for real races down the road in the sport of NASCAR. Thank you everybody for tuning in here tonight. This is going to be an interesting one. About to hop into qualifying for the Busch Series race at Daytona. If you remember our season opener at Daytona for the Busch Series, Greg Biffle was able to get the victory with a last lap pass for the win on Dale Jr. on a one-lap green-white checker finish. Also in that race, Greg Biffle qualified on the pole and led the most laps. He had a lot of speed in that number 60 Charter Ford. We'll see if he has similar speed tonight. Same setup as what he ran earlier this year, but it's under the lights, so maybe the conditions will change just a little bit more. Track temps are going to be a little bit cooler than what they were earlier in the season. Without further ado, let's hop on into this one here today. Joshua Rumsey, Derek Booth, welcome into the stream, guys. First one's down into the chat. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a cutoff right now, it's because I didn't give myself time to change following a workout. I was running a little bit behind. I thought I could get it in before we streamed tonight, and I was cutting it pretty close for time, so I didn't get to change my clothes like I usually do, so I'm pulling real Radman. For those of you that get my reference, I feel like you would get that, you would understand it. You would understand it. R6, welcome into the stream as well. Already 9 people watching. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Takes a little bit to get up to speed. This first lap's probably not going to be that quick. It's all going to be dependent on lap 2 for Greg Biffle to try and set the quick time. Max Pappas took his slap better than Chris Rock. Welcome to the stream. Oh my goodness. Who remembers Max Pappas getting slapped by, who was it? Was it Nelson Piquet's wife? Whose wife was it that slapped Max Pappas that one year in Canada? It was that Canadian Tire, but I can't remember who slapped him. Or whose wife slapped him. I think R6 understands what I meant by the real Radman joke. Biffle running the outside, trying to get as much straightaway speed as possible through lap 1. So this first lap's not going to be that quick. Off of turn 4. He's going to take the dive down to the bottom once he gets into the tri-oval. And he's going to try to start on the pole for both Daytona races this season. 10th place despite running the outside on lap 1. Lap 2, again, should be quite a bit quicker. It was a 49.764 on lap 1. Second to last super speedway race of the year. The third total on the season. Santiago Kid, welcome to the stream. See, Biffle's hooked to that yellow line on the inside. Car feels pretty stable, at least in qualifying. We'll see how it's going to do in traffic and in the draft. For a 100-lap race tonight. Off of turn 4, Biffle's car is screaming to the start-finish line. Will it be a pull time? It's going to be close. Gonna cut it down to the tri-oval, onto the apron. 49.418 pole time for Greg Biffle. How about that? 2 poles at Daytona for Greg Biffle in the Busch Series this season. Can he get the Busch Series sweep at Daytona? Remember, only 2 races in the Busch Series at Daytona on this schedule. It's going to be interesting here. Apparently it was Mike Skeen's girlfriend. I honestly don't remember that name in the sport of NASCAR, to be completely honest. Mike Skeen. Is that a driver? Must have been like a road course regular from the early 2010s. The yellow line rule was made I think it was 2001 after the Daytona 500. I think it was 2001 for that spring Talladega race. I just don't enforce it on this game, or on the EA Sports games. I'll start enforcing it once we get into like the Car of Tomorrow stage. But I think the Technics games already do it for you anyway. But all right, let's get this race underway. He definitely had a death stare. That is for sure. He got really upset with that. I'd have to go back and watch that just to see like what the reasoning was for it. I know the two drivers got together, but I'll have to go back and watch that over again. I forgot about that until you brought that up, to be completely honest. Green flag is in the air at Daytona. Greg Biffle gets the great launch down into turn 1. Dwayne Borland qualified on the outside of the front row in second place. He'll drop down to the bottom and line behind Biffle. As Biffle had that good launch. Biffle led just over 40 laps, which was the most in that 120-lap race earlier this season. It was an extra 50 miles in tonight's race. Biffle going to go down to try and block the bottom. A run on the outside by Borland. Biffle up high to block that as well into turn 3. We also had 5 cautions in the season-opening Busch Series race at Daytona. We'll see what this one will do today. And look at Dwayne Borland off in turn 4 with a head of steam. He gets by Greg Biffle for the lead. And just like that, Dwayne Borland from second place will lead lap 1. Greg Biffle in second. Biffle's going to try a slingshot move down into turn 1. Now Borland with a block, and he was not clear. Very, very dicey racing already on lap 2. And the pack is already split into 2, it looks like, as there might have been some contact in the tri-oval that stacked up about half the field, maybe just over half the field. Trying to get the turn down to the bottom of the racetrack. A little bit easier to do that on fresher tires. Outside lane's getting a pull right now. Biffle up high to block Borland. A little contact off the exit of turn number 4. And Biffle will get the drive off, and he'll lead his first lap of the race. 5 bonus points for the Biff. A lot of contact already in the first 2 laps. Yeah, EA Sports games, I don't plan on enforcing the yellow line rule on myself. Big run on the outside. Pretty easy for Biffle to block. There's not too many cars in line behind him right now. Biffle has gotten spaced apart even more. So Biffle didn't lead lap 1, but he led lap 2, and now it looks like he's going to lead lap 3 back to the start-finish line as well. Well, maybe. 56 car to the outside. Yep, Biffle will lead this lap. I think that's Hermie Sadler in third place, who actually went down to the bottom to draft with Biffle, even though the 56 initially had the run. I think that's Cody Holt in the 56 car. Biffle down low. Sadler up towards the outside now. Biffle trying to side draft Busch. It's not going to work. Or sorry, Cody Holt rather. And Hermie Sadler drafted Holt to the lead, but now Sadler's going to pull out a line on the back straightaway. He's going to go to the inside. Biffle's got to run up high with Holt. Going to have our 3rd different leader already in 4 laps, as Hermie Sadler's going to be the one to lead back at the start-finish line, clearing Holt off of turn 4. Biffle to the inside of the 56 car for second place. Some of the pack is starting to catch up with the top 3 not staying organized. Biffle to second. Sadler easily able to pull down and make the block on the inside. Imagine Hermie Sadler pulling off the upset today at Daytona. Biffle pulls clear into 3. We're going to have another lead change already. 3 different leaders, and I believe this is going to be the 4th lead change of the race already in just 5 laps. That's quite a bit. I don't know what the Busch Series record is for most lead changes in a race. Somebody might have to look that up. What is the record for the most Xfinity Series lead changes? I know the Cup Series is in the 80s, but it's not going to get that high for the Xfinity Series because there's not as many laps. Hermie Sadler to the outside with a run. Greg Biffle trying to side draft him, and now there's a car to the inside of Biffle. Sadler's able to pull clear, though, so they're not quite 3 wide going into the corner, and Hermie Sadler will take the lead. A 5th lead change already in today's race. And the second time Hermie Sadler is going to lead a lap. Kyle Busch working himself into the top 5. He's second in points coming in. Billy Carjoy stands with Ukraine. Welcome to the stream. Biffle's starting to lose the 0-2 in the 56 up ahead. Kyle Busch will get to the inside for 3rd. Biffle was trying to go to the top, and he nearly gets turned off of turn 3. Around goes Biffle hard into the inside wall. And I spammed through the caution replay there. Biffle gets turned off of turn 2. Had to lock it down and took a hard hit with the left front into the inside retaining wall head on. And a lot of damage to repair on the 60. A hard crash in the opening 7 laps of tonight's race. And the charter team will go to work. The Mr. Clean crew no longer in the Busch Series. They made too many mistakes in the Busch Series. I had to fire them. So the regular charter team is back for the 60 car, but all the way to the back goes Biffle already, despite starting on the pole. 10 laps complete as we get back to the start-finish line for the restart. Green flag back in the air, and how much speed is knocked out of the 60 of Greg Biffle as well. $16 lead changes, that's it? That's the record? Indy 2017. I'm surprised that's it. And Biffle's already in danger of losing the draft on the restart. Unfortunately. No cars behind him to try and help him out either. And Hermie Sadler was the leader at the time of the caution. He led to the restart. The entire field stayed out of the pits. Biffle had to come down and repair damage. And he is going to lose the draft as his car is just not as fast as it once was when he qualified on the pole. Led a couple laps early. What a tough break for this team. He comes in with a 202-point lead over Kyle Busch. That's quite a bit. It's over 1 race worth of points, but you don't want to give it up with a bad finish today at Daytona, a track in which I am not good at on the EA Sports games for whatever reason. I never seem to have luck here. Except for when we did win the Busch Series season opener at Daytona. It's the only points-paying race I've ever won at Daytona on an EA Sports video game on the channel. And it might continue to be the only one as Biffle is already losing the draft. As his car is struggling to hit 180 miles per hour with the damage to the left front. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in today's race, and then you'll get to see that damage on that left front. I think that was Dwayne Borland who got into the left rear corner panel of Biffle off the exit of turn 2, which had turned him down into the inside retaining wall. Ryan Rodriguez, welcome to the stream as well. I didn't realize you were the one that stated what the lead change record is. I'm surprised, though, it's only 16. We should be able to break that tonight. Man, I know the races are shorter. I was expecting like 30 or 40. I guess the pit crew got it mostly repaired. It's definitely still there. You can definitely tell the engine power is down from what it once was. And there was no chance Biffle had of saving that. He was pointed to the inside wall right from the point of contact off of turn 2. We've seen some violent hits into the inside retaining wall and super speedways on the backstretch similar to that, and it tends to knock the cars out of the race, so he's very fortunate he didn't DNF. But that was definitely a hard hit. NASCAR tracks in Minecraft. Well, it's crazy because I was good on the super speedways in the NASCAR Heat Series, but in NASCAR EA Sports games, I just struggle on them. Right there, just got into trouble. It was nothing of Biffle's own doing either. I mean, he was running in 3rd place. I guess he was in 4th at the time because Kyle Busch had gotten around him, so he was in 4th. Lap 7. Off the exit of turn 2, Borland, I think, just wanted to pull into line behind Biffle, if I would have to assume. Off the exit of turn 2, and when he pulled up in line, he clipped the left rear and just mistimed it. Turn that 60 car right around. 2 pit stops is scheduled for today's race. Obviously, we've already had our first caution of the day. It's going to be a hard time for Greg Biffle in this one. And we're about to have 2 tight points battles in the Busch and the Cup Series for Greg Biffle all of a sudden after having a big lead in both. This one even bigger, though, than what the Cup Series lead was. Cup Series, it wasn't over a race where the points yet. It was at 137 over Dale Jr., and then Dale Jr. just took the points lead away last night following the Texas Road Course race after he got his first win of the Cup Series season. In race number 17, he has about a 19-point lead in the standings over Biffle. Again, Biffle 202 points ahead of Kyle Busch in this Busch Series season. But Kyle Busch was in 3rd place at the time of the caution, and I'd have to assume he's probably still up there as long as he didn't fade too far back in the pack on the restart. I don't know what it's going to take to get that track position. Biffle's so far off the pace right now with the engine damage. I think if he can actually get in the draft, the car could be competitive. The problem is it's just trying to get up to speed with the draft. There's definitely a difficulty with the damage to the front of the race car. Because we know he can take off on the restarts. We saw in that initial start, he almost got too far out ahead, and that's how Borland was able to lead lap 1. Before Biffle took the lead on lap 2. Nathan Elliott, welcome to the stream. Biffle will pass people when they pit. Well, the problem is it's still a 2-stop race to the end for everybody. So even if they pit a little bit before us, we're still going to have to pit 2 times in this race, as will everybody else. The window's going to be right around 35 to 40 laps. Got to go at least 33 laps per run and 34 laps on 1 run to be able to make it on 2 stops. That caution's obviously going to help drivers save fuel as well to be able to easily make it on 2 stops. Unless we get a caution in a weird spot at some point tonight as well. Craig Franklin, welcome to the stream. Definitely not giving up. The problem is, with it being a Busch Series race and not a Cup Series race, is it's only 100 laps. That is not a long time. We're already almost 20% of the way home, and we just got things started not that long ago. Again, we had 5 cautions in our Busch Series race earlier this season at Daytona, and we actually had the big one on lap 3 in that race. If I remember correctly, Kenny Wallace blew an engine in the tri-oval, and the whole field ran right into him. Nobody is out of the race as of right now. The entire pack is pretty much bunched together for the most part. There's another car or 2 that is not too far behind the lead pack, and then obviously Biffle's off the lead pack. The good news is with running back here is if the big one does come out, Biffle would miss it. I don't think he could take much more damage to the front of the car without a DNFing now after that hard hit bringing out the first yellow. The problem is with those worn out tires from that first accident too, he's didn't pit for fuel or tires because of an unfair advantage. I don't do that if I'm involved in the accident. Unless everybody else pits for fuel and tires, which nobody else pitted, so I didn't want that unfair advantage. Even though I wasn't the one that necessarily caused the accident, I was definitely involved without being able to save the race car. Yeah, I haven't even won the Daytona 500 in the EA Sports video game. 0 for 4. Finished second. Finished second with Greg Biffle in the Cup Series season for this season. I think I finished 8th with Jimmy Johnson. Terry Labonte, I think I finished like 8th or 9th. I finished second with Biffle on NASCAR Thunder in 2004 as well. So I'm getting good finishes in the Daytona 500 at least. I'm just not winning the 500. Then in the night race, for whatever reason, I always get caught up in a wreck, and I don't know why. And hence, lap 7 today got caught up in a wreck. Sad part is that it was only a one-car incident, so that's why nobody else has any damage from it. Borland was the one that initiated the contact. Again, I think he was trying to pull in line off the exit of turn 2 behind Biffle, and he just clipped him in the left rear and turned him straight into the inside retaining wall. You can see the tire marks when we go by the backstretch. Well, you could earlier. It was kind of hard to see that time, but earlier you were able to see it. Won the 500 earlier today using Jeff Gordon. Oh, there you go. Hermie Sadler's still the leader. That 02 car is looking strong today. A lot of Cup Series regulars in this race, though. Fur, welcome to the stream. Locked out of my main. Not exactly sure what you mean by that. But welcome. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their Tuesday night. Trying to give you guys some good Daytona racing action. We'll see. We'll try to make this interesting with some strategy. I don't know what it's going to take to be able to get up there. But I don't think the left side tires are going to be able to go the whole way. Not with spinning out. There's no way. I was going to say maybe take, fuel only and then right sides only. With that spin, we're going to have to take 4 tires the first stop. If not the first stop, the second stop. Because we're going to have to change lefts eventually. So we might as well change 4 tires the first time. And then the second time, if we get a caution later, we take 2 tires or no tires. And go from there. Mark DeMars, welcome to the stream. One for 12 in the Daytona 500 and EA Sports games. Oof. Yeah, doing the full races, it's tough. It is very tough. Just to stay out of trouble. Especially with these games, it's so hard to lose the draft, or so easy to lose the draft with the Gen 4 car. It was specifically after green flag pit stops is the hardest part. Or unless you have a hole in the radiator like we do in this one. With the damage. Already 25 seconds, almost 25 and a half seconds off the race lead with no drafting help right now. Again, all it takes is 1 caution. An interesting strategy to come from it. They're within the window to be able to make it on 2 stops from now. The problem is there's no free pass in the Busch series. No free pass in the Busch series means that it's going to be very difficult for Greg Biffle to get his lap back if he goes a lap down. So that's why he needs a caution desperately. And that's also why he's not short pitting right now. Just to pit so he doesn't have to later. Because if he gets trapped a lap down, that's it. Remember, at one point in time, he was 2 laps down at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Caution came out in the middle of green flag pit stops, and that unfortunately relegated him to a finish outside the top 10. He ended up coming back to at least finish 16th, which wasn't bad. All things considered, it could have been a lot worse. But between that and then this start today, these last 2 races for Biffle in the Busch Series have been abysmal so far. He had over a 250-point lead over Kyle Busch at one point in time, and now it's down to 202, and it could easily be down under 100 at the end of today's race. Still have one more trip to Talladega yet. No more road courses on the schedule, even though Biffle's 1 for 1. He won at Old Spice Speedway on the only road course race of the season. We have a lot of intermediates we have not raced yet. Most of the schedule up to this point have been short tracks. Now our third super speedway, 1 road course. We've only ran 2 mile-and-a-halves and 2 intermediate tracks, so we have a lot more of those remaining. Season finale will be at the California Speedway. Fast 2-mile oval. We are over a quarter of the way home. Lap 28 at the start-finish line this time by. Well, while things are dull right now, I usually wait till about the midway point in the race, but to try and get more of a talking point, we'll have tonight's trivia question right here, right now on the channel. Greg Biffle trying to go for the Daytona sweep in the NASCAR Busch Series race tonight in the Winn-Dixie 250. There's only one driver in NASCAR history who has swept the Busch Series / Xfinity Series races at Daytona. Who is that driver and what year did it happen? So again, tonight's trivia question is, who is the only driver in Xfinity Series history to win both the summer and February Daytona race? Name the driver, name the year. And the hint, my hint for the night, which I'll state right now, is that it would have been from 2002 onwards, because every year from 82 was when the Busch Series started, racing at Daytona at least. So from 1982, the first race at Daytona in the Busch Series, to 2001, they only ran 1 race a year. So that is part of the reason why it's only happened once as well. The fact that they've only been doing this for about 20 years. Yep, name the driver, name the year. Mark Martin or Jeff Gordon, but I forget the year. It is not either one of those two. It's not Martin or Gordon. Lap 30, about a quarter tank of gas left for Greg Biffle. That's a problem too with not having any drafting help, as he is not saving any fuel whatsoever right now. Yeah, but there goes the right front wearing out at lap 30 already. Of course, this old Daytona surface also does not help with the tire wear. Brian Rodriguez says Dale Jr. 2003. That is the answer to tonight's question. I figured somebody was going to guess Dale Jr., so that's why I said guess the year as well, just to try and see if anybody had the year. But Brian Rodriguez has it. He retracted his message, but he did have it right the first time. 2003, Dale Earnhardt Jr., that was the only driver and the only time that anybody has won both the winter and summer Xfinity races at Daytona. No, it wasn't 2004. You had it right the first time. It was 2003. 2004, you're thinking of him winning the 500 and the Busch race. It was who was the driver to win both Busch races at Daytona, or both Xfinity races at Daytona. I keep saying Busch because it's the Busch Series for what we're racing tonight. Yeah, but Jimmy Johnson only won 1 Xfinity Series race. Chicagoland 2001, I believe. Never won at Daytona. Mark Martin was a good one, though, earlier as far as a guess, because he was pretty good on the restrictor plate races in the Busch Series. Tony Stewart probably would have been a good guess. I was wondering if somebody was going to try to guess Stewart. Stewart's got a lot of them, but he never won both in the same season. So tonight's trivia question a little bit earlier tonight. Usually we wait till around the halfway mark, but not a lot of action where we're at on the racetrack, at least right now, so I figured now was going to be the best time to ask you guys. Dale Jr. just dominated early 2000s. Yeah, It's crazy because he actually did win 3 in a row because he won those. He won the 2 in 2003, and then he won the rained out race that ran on a Monday for the Busch Series in 2004 as well. So he had 3 straight Daytona wins in the Busch Series. Yep, and we do have some cars pitting, it looks like, off of turn 4 at lap 33, and that's going to be interesting because that is right at the window right now of being able to make it on 2 stops today. So a lot of cars are pitting. And I think race leader Hermie Sadler was one of them to pit. Of course, he can't really save much fuel if he's leading like he has been. He's led all but just a couple laps. Biffle's led a few laps in today's race, 2 or 3. Dwayne Borland led lap 1. And I think Hermie Sadler's led the rest. Until now, Dwayne Borland actually led that last lap, which was his 2nd lap led of the race. So Biffle's going to cycle ahead of these guys for right now, but it's going to be very, very brief. We've seen cautions in the middle of green flag pit stops a lot in this game. So don't be surprised if somebody gets ran over trying to make it onto pit road in that giant pack of cars. Good news is for Biffle is that he won't have to worry about a pack anywhere around him when he has to make his pit stop. The 60 team's going to have to be on it. They're going to have to make a pretty clean 4-tire stop. Because if they have any mistakes, they could be in danger of going a lap down without having any drafting help. The idea here is to just cycle out in front of the leaders and go from there. But he's going to push it as far as he can first, in case we get a caution in the middle of green flag stops. It would trap a lot of the field a lap down, so he'd actually be able to restart in the middle of the pack. Even with pitting under the caution flag, as he's up to 20th place right now. Dwayne Borland still on the track leading. Little mistake there. So again, as soon as that window opened to the end of the race, for 2 stops at least, that's when these drivers started to pit. We still have some drivers out on the track right now. I don't know if Biffle's going to be the last car to pit or not. I would think probably not, considering that he doesn't have any drafting help whatsoever. And whatever cars end up catching him from behind, he's going to have to hold them there. Dwayne Borland coming into the pits right now. Dale Jr. will take his first lead of the race. Just won his first Cup race of the season. He does have 1 Busch Series win this year. It came at Rockingham when he passed Kyle Busch on the last lap. They had a few last lap passes for the win in the Busch Series, but most of them came early in the season. We have had, I believe, 3 races go caution-free so far this year. This will not be one of them. Another one, at least. 20-10 in a hockey game. Kyle Busch has cycled out so far in what would likely be the lead very soon. They're closing in on Greg Biffle in the pack. Hermie Sadler to the inside of Busch as Biffle goes high to block Busch. Sadler to the inside. Harvick down low. Almost gets into Hermie. They're 3 wide for what would be the eventual race lead. But Biffle's holding them up quite a bit. He's on older tires right now, so he's having a difficult time trying to do so. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Oh, man, somebody almost cleaned out the lap car on the apron. Dwayne Borland in the 135 was getting up the speed on the inside of the racetrack, and somebody blew an engine coming out of the pits right in front of him and had to drop to the apron. We almost saw an accident. That would have been exactly what Greg Biffle needed. Biffle will stay out 1 more lap as he drafts behind Borland, lap 38. Got a big run on the 135. There's Dale Jr. down on the bottom. Borland to the lead at Daytona. Biffle will have to pit this time by. Yeah, all 4 tires in the yellow before he makes this stop. He's definitely going to end up having to pit this time by. He's got to run on Borland for the lead down the back straightaway, but it's not going to be for anything. Biffle's not going to be able to lead this lap because he will pit this time by, not wanting to risk it another lap on fuel. All 4 tires in the yellow as well. So if he has to lock him up to slow the car down, he will, because he will be taking 4 tires under this pit stop at Daytona. So 4 tires and fuel. Now he's just got to hope that he cycles out ahead far enough. No adjustments on the 60 car with this stop. First of 2 on the day. So Biffle took it as long as he could, hoping for a caution. Didn't get it that run. Pretty quick stop, though, for the 60 team. I will give them credit there. And it looks like there are a couple cars out of the race. We did see one driver blow an engine who just came out of the pit lane. And then somebody else has blown an engine during that run as well. So Biffle's now in 41st place. And he is still on the lead lap. A very fast pit stop for the 60 team. It's going to buy him a little bit of time. Again, hoping for a caution flag as we are almost halfway home. So Biffle made it 38 laps. We also had a caution that took 3 caution laps away. So about 35 laps of green flag action before that stop. So I would have to assume, granted he didn't really have much drafting help either, so maybe he can go a couple laps longer than 35 if he has drafting help. Problem is, he still doesn't have drafting help as he's up to speed now into turn 1. Dwayne Borland probably about 5 seconds roughly behind him yet. That pack is going to be closing in on him eventually. Borland was the driver who cycled out of the pits with the lead. Hermie Sadler went in with the lead, and I think he ended up back in around 3rd or 4th. Trivia question. We actually already had the trivia question tonight there, Mark. We had it a little early tonight, being I was running by myself in the pack, or out of the pack. Guess we'll alternate through the different camera angles one more time. That done while we're all by ourselves too. We will be pack racing very shortly, whether we want to this way or not, and it will be at the front of the pack, but Biffle's going to have to fight to stay in the lead lap. Again, no free pass in the Busch Series in 2004, so Biffle's going to have to hold on for dear life here. The only good news is if he did go a lap down, he could pit, knowing he would be a lap down anyway. And he would also still get the line up on the inside of the lead lap cars, even with a pit stop. I don't know how that would shake out for strategy purposes, but hopefully we don't get to that point. Biffle could just stay on the lead lap anyway, but that would definitely be interesting as well. Two cars have kind of drafted away from the pack. Borland and then somebody, whoever it is behind him. Look at how much the pack got split apart that last lap. Something must have happened somewhere that stacked things up. And we have another car blowing an engine on the inside of the track as well. It's Mark Martin in the 9 car, so that will move Greg Biffle up to 40th. The problem is for Biffle is that was a Roush Fenway Ford that just blew an engine. And here comes Borland with some drafting help behind him. He'll have a big run in the tri-oval. Biffle's going to try to block it. He'll have to go to the outside. Borland will now cut down to the bottom. Biffle blocks that as well into turn 1. Kyle Busch was the car drafting with Borland. Borland goes high. Busch goes to the bottom to draft with the 60, trying to get to the lead that way. Biffle having to control the lanes as much as he possibly can, trying to desperately stay on the lead lap. Nervous times right now for the 60. Just praying that we get a caution sometime soon. We've had 3 engine failures, but no accidents since that first one back at lap 7, which put Biffle in this predicament. And And in the draft, he's able to hang on. It's just he's so slow on single car speed now. That's why he lost the draft at the back of the pack on the restart with the damage. It's going to take a heck of a comeback, though, to try and make this happen in the second half of the race. Kyle Busch with a run up high again. Biffle pulls up, barely blocked him in time. Clear off of turn 2. Borland with a run down low. Biffle to block there as well. Borland pulls high to clear Kyle Busch for the race lead and has himself in line into turn 3. Busch goes to the bottom. Borland still up high. Biffle has to stay with Kyle Busch right now, and there goes Borland around the outside to put Biffle a lap down. Biffle hops in line behind him. And here comes Hermie Sadler in the 0-2. He drafts behind Biffle on the outside. Kyle Busch has no help down low, and it looks like he's about to lose second. Biffle's got a big run, though, into turn 1, down to the inside of Borland, trying to get his lap back. You never know when a caution could fly, especially at Daytona. That's why it is crucial for Greg Biffle to try and take the lead. Or, sorry, take his lap back, not take the lead. He's racing with the leaders. But he was able to clear Borland off of turn 2. He pulled him right back. Kevin Harvick in the lead pack right now. On the inside, he's drafting behind Kyle Busch. A lot of blocking going on right now by Biffle. Borland in the wall off of turn 4. Stalled out the outside lane just a little bit. Made an easy block for Biffle. We'll go back to the far chase cam for the rest of the race. 55 laps to go in the Winn-Dixie 250 at Daytona. Should do Rockingham or Nazareth. I prefer Rockingham, personally. More multi-groove racing. For a stock car race, at least. There's some good IndyCar races at Nazareth. I'm sure there's some good Busch and Truck Series races, too. It just wasn't as suited for that. It was more suited for open wheel racing. How flat it was, especially for a 1 mile length. There were a lot of flat intermediates that quickly switched to banked intermediates like Homestead and Vegas. It just didn't work out that well. For stock car racing. Kyle Busch has the lead. Trying to hold on the outside. He has a run. Borland going with him. Biffle trying to side draft the 5 as much as he can. He is able to pull up in front of Dwayne Borland, though. Busch down on the bottom. Kevin Harvick behind Biffle. Harvick to second. Biffle with a run. Oh, big block by Busch. He wasn't really clear with it either. It still stalled the run out for Greg Biffle just enough. Biffle did not appreciate that at all. Another run on Busch. Going low. And he's got his lap back again. I guess Biffle's up to 39th now as well. Somebody else has blown an engine after Mark Martin even. So we didn't have any engine failures before the first pit stop, and now since then we have had 4 drivers drop out of the race. And Kyle Busch just lost the lead off of turn 4 to Kevin Harvick after Busch had gotten into the wall, tight in the dirty air behind Biffle. Harvick going up the track into turn 1, evasive maneuver. Nobody went with him. Busch is going with Biffle on the bottom, trying to get a run there. Harvick trying to build up some momentum, though, off the outside. He's there. Busch down low. They're 3 wide. Contact between the 21 and the 5. Oh, and Borland up the middle to take the lead. What a move. 3 wide up the middle. Dwayne Borland to the lead. And he gets under Biffle. Biffle almost gets into him and just barely, and I mean barely kept it off the 135 car. Harvick bump drafting him now off of turn 4. And they're trying to tandem away from the field. Halfway home at the line, and Biffle is a lap down. And he's probably going to need somebody else to lead this pack. I don't know how the 135 and the 60 didn't make contact in the middle of turn 3. Biffle was going to go down to block, but Borland was already there. And he had to go way up the track just to miss him. Kyle Busch going to get around as well, but that's all right. Biffle needs to draft behind somebody. It's not a good lead car with the damage on the front bumper. Busch on the outside. Biffle has to go with him. He wants him to run down low. Biffle in a desperate situation to really get back on the lead lap. They're 3 wide back behind him. We could see the big one at any moment. We gotta try to bump draft Kyle Busch. Gotta make sure those bumpers are gonna be aligned right. It's tough to do with these Gen 4 cars. Especially with the damage on the 60, the bumpers may really not align right. Borland and Harvick still battling for the lead. Harvick can't get enough of a run on Borland anymore because it's just the two of them. He doesn't have any help behind him when he pulls out a line to try and make the pass. Busch and Biffle are coming, though. Biffle trying to get Busch down to the bottom. Biffle was able to get Kyle down there. Biffle kind of lifted, though, on corner entry. Almost lost Busch. He's got a massive run on Kyle. He's going to have to sit behind him into turn 3 because they're not quite to the back of the 21 yet. The rest of the lead pack also is not that far behind Busch and Biffle. Into the tri-oval. Biffle with a run on the 5, but I think he pulled out a line just a little too early. So I don't think he's close enough to draft behind Harvick. Contact and into the wall goes Busch. Biffle got really tight. And they're going to lose more ground on the leaders. Busch is going to have to get back by again. They have more time to try and pick up on them. Busch was aggressive with that side draft, and Biffle got a little tight, and that led to the contact. Sadler behind Biffle, giving him a little bit of help. Try and get to that 5 car. 21 to 135. Very good drafty partners right now. We see a fantasy-generated driver win this race. Talked about Hermie Sadler potentially getting an upset. He led a lot of laps before the first green flag pit stops. Now he's back at 4th, but it's Dwayne Borland of all drivers who is leading this race now. He led the first lap. He qualified 2nd, so we know he's got good single car speed, which is probably why he's able to lead in front of Harvick, and it's difficult for Harvick to get around him right now. 3 wins in the first 4 races in F1. With the new Lewis Hamilton. The next Lewis Hamilton. Biffle lifts into turn 1. He didn't want to get underneath with Kyle Busch, and Busch didn't go low initially into the corner. Biffle has a massive, massive run behind Busch. He's going to give him a big shot. Nope, never mind. Thought about it. But he didn't reach him soon enough down the backstretch. He didn't want to bump draft him into the corner. That probably wasn't going to work. Not with these cars. Especially on a bumpier Daytona surface. Only 44 laps to go in the Winn-Dixie 250. And the window to make it on fuel to the end of the race will open up very shortly. Likely going to be fuel only for Biffle on this next stop. try to cycle back out ahead of these guys. He had a fast 4-tire stop, so fuel only should get a little bit quicker than that, buy him a bit more time. He's definitely going to stay out as long as he can once again, though. He needs a caution, but the problem is he's a lap down right now, and there's no free pass in the Busch Series. I think somebody else just pulled out of the race as well with another engine failure, so Biffle's up to 38th. At least he's gaining some spots because of that. It's better than nothing. Again, very fortunate to not DNF on lap 7 when he took that hit into the inside wall. So halfway out of fuel. Biffle with a run on Busch. Will he bump draft him this time? Nope, not quite. He is all over the back of him, though. They both run the outside. I think they would definitely be a little bit quicker if they ran the bottom. Biffle's trying to look low so that way Busch pulls down to block him. So they could potentially run the inside. Harvick and Borland are down on the bottom into turns 3 and 4. So Busch and Biffle have to run there if they're going to want to try to catch the draft of them. Especially now that they're somewhat close enough. Both in the middle now, into the tri-oval at least. But so are the cars ahead of him. Oh, Harvick went high that time. Borland down low. They didn't stay together. Busch and Biffle more towards the middle that time in turns 1 and 2. Big run coming for Biffle. Didn't want to pull out a line too early that time. Busch is still in front of him. Busch may have a shot to try and battle for the lead, though, as well. I don't think he's led any laps yet today. Biffle definitely doesn't want to push him to the lead. Well, there's always the draft lottery, Billy. Maybe he'll get the #1 pick. Biffle's gonna pull high. Oh, Busch thought about blocking him, but he couldn't do it in time. Biffle on the outside makes the pass. What a move. And now drives to the bottom under Harvick. But Busch goes with the 21. He didn't go with the 60. He's gonna have to get in line in between them, and he does. Whew, boy, what a move, though, on the back straightaway. Biffle's very fortunate Busch didn't squeeze him into the wall either. And he is close enough to draft behind the 21 of Harvick now. Again, into turns 1 and 2. On the bottom lane. Harvick went high. Biffle didn't go with him. He goes to the bottom. Slides up in front of Harvick, clear. Now he just has to get by Borland. Ooh, that's not going to help. Trying desperately to get a draft off of Dwayne Borland in the 135. So close. Harvick's in the wall off of turn 4. Busch is up to second. Busch drafting behind Biffle. He's probably going to go with the 60 if the 60 pulls out to make a move on the 135, which he will as soon as he gets an opportunity to. Down to the bottom into turn 1. Contact! Oh man, he nearly wrecked the leader. Into the wall goes Borland. Biffle is now on the lead lap again. And Dwayne Borland's back to third. And he is losing the lead draft. Every man for themselves. here at Daytona. Not the way Biffle wanted to do it, but he didn't want to pass that run up, and it got tight. He had half of his car on the apron. That was all on Biffle's fault that time. Harvick and Busch are side by side for the lead behind the 60. 38 laps to go at the line, 37 for the leaders. Harvick out in front as he clears Busch in the tri-oval. Restall Cup, welcome into the stream as well. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. For those of you watching right now, only 9 likes on the stream. We've had as many as 16 people watching this race. Harvick to the outside, trying to get his lap back. And it looks like he is not only in the lead, but he will put Biffle a lap down again. Biffle with a run on the back straightaway. Harvick trying to block, and he's able to do so. Biffle should hang on to the draft with Busch behind him. When will the leaders pit? That window is almost open to the end of the race. And again, will we see a second caution in this one? Biffle's got to run, but nowhere to go with the 21 already hugging that yellow line on the inside. Biffle's going to try to back up to get another run down the back straightaway, and we'll see where he can get around Harvick. He got around Busch on the outside, but he had drafting help in front of him to be able to do it. Biffle will go to the outside of Harvick. Side drafts the right rear corner panel. Biffle doesn't have any help. He's got to pull back down in line behind Harvick in the middle of 3 and 4. It was worth a try. He was able to get back down to the inside in front of Busch. Busch will have to draft back behind the 60 again. Into the tri-oval. He's going low, though. That's not what Biffle wants him to do. He's not able to actually get underneath him, though, and side draft the left rear corner panel of the 60. So Biffle, again, will remain in between the first 2 cars in the running order. Harvick trying to win his first race of the Busch Series season. He's had bad luck on the Cup Series side. Can he finish with good luck in the Busch Series race tonight? A beautiful Reese's paint scheme. Biffle to the inside with a run into turn 3. He's going to pull clear on Harvick. He's going to go up to try and block him. He's clear in the middle of 3 and 4. Desperation time. Biffle getting his lap back again, and again just hoping for a caution as we're in the middle of green flag pit stops. Busch looks low. He pulls to the lead in front of Harvick. Biffle gets tight. He can't get to the bottom, but neither could Busch. And Biffle holds on in front of the 5 and the 21. And here comes Busch again up high. And now Busch, who's the leader, is going to lap Biffle. Biffle just can't hold on in front of these guys with the damage. Busch down to block into 3. Now we'll see if Harvick can keep up. Busch not going to pit this time. Neither is Harvick. 33 laps to go for the leaders at the line. They're within the window to make it to the end. Big run by Biffle, but nowhere to go with it. Into turn 1. He's there. Trying to squeeze the 5. Trying to side draft him, but Busch gets away. Harvick pulls in line behind Biffle. Trying to give the 60 a push. Busch going low, so is Harvick. I think they will be pitting this time by. Oh, Busch is going to stay out. Busch stays out. Harvick pits. Thought Kyle was coming in, but he didn't. And another block on the 60. Biffle to the outside. No help, though. And again, Kyle Busch holds Biffle a lap down. Some of that might be the reason why Busch stayed out, at least, was to keep Biffle a lap down as long as he can. When will Kyle Busch pit? Biffle might have lost him in the draft as he couldn't get around him up high on the front stretch. still definitely going to be a fuel-only stop for Biffle, and he has lost Kyle Busch. 31 laps to go for Busch in the Winn-Dixie 250 at Daytona. Biffle up to 21st in the running order. But he can't have there be a caution until Kyle Busch pits at least. Not sure who's coming up behind Biffle, if that is going to be for position or not. He's going to have to block it, whoever it is. Somebody goes down low to try and catch the draft off of Biffle. I believe it's Dale Earnhardt. No, it's Ron Hornaday. Hornaday in the 2. Kyle Busch stays out again. Hornaday into pit behind Biffle. Bliss, Billy Parker. 30 laps to go at Daytona. If it gets loose off turn 2, that's costly. Too much of that yellow line on the inside. The left side tires got just below it. A transition from the banking to the flat in the middle of the corner there. All 4 tires probably going to be in the yellow again, but we're getting to the end of this race. He needs to get these laps back. Kenny Wallace into the pits behind Biffle. Kyle Busch is finally into the pits. Biffle back on the lead lap again at Daytona. 29 laps to go. Terry Cook will lead for the first time in this race in the 10 car. So he'll get 5 bonus points. Of course, Busch was able to get some laps led before that stop. Whether he wins or not, he'll get bonus points today, and that will help him try to run Biffle down in the championship. Ashton Lewis is already pitted because he is not the leader. He's now behind Biffle. Terry Cook is the leader right now. There's a lot of cars a lap down, too, as we run with not everybody pitting yet. With Biffle on the lead lap, this, again, would be the perfect time for there to be a caution, if any. Terry Cook on his way into the pits. Ashton Lewis gets by on the outside, a little contact with Johnny Sauter. It's going to cost Biffle any chance to stay in the draft with Lewis on the bottom in turns 1 and 2 after the contact with Sauter. Passes are for position right now. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the leader. He has not made his stop yet. So about half the field, a lap down. Big run for Biffle. Past Johnny Sauter for position. That'll move him up to 15th. Dale Jr. is in the pits. Fuel tank almost dry for the 60. He's going to go another lap or 2, and then he'll have to pit. Probably about lap 75 is where Biffle will hit pit road. 37 laps into the run. He was able to save a little bit more. Speedway Boulevard will be this coming weekend on the Cup Series side. That's the next custom schedule series race for the Nextel Cup Series. We'll be Busch Series racing again tomorrow at Dover. Start time will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 7 p.m. tomorrow night, Dover. For the Busch Series, 200 laps there, 200-mile race at the Monster Mile. We could have a tight points battle going into that one if Biffle can't get a good finish today. He's going to stay out this time by 3 wide behind him right now into turn 3. Sauter thought better of it and just kind of backed out. Drops. No, there's still 3 wide. Looks like Blue Castleberry got in the wall on the outside. David Green may have as well. So there it is, lap 75. Now or never for there to be a caution before Biffle pits. It's about 13.1 seconds off the race lead, but he will have to pit this time by, and he'll go fuel only to at least try to stay on the lead lap. Hope those tires can make it to the end of the race. Out of fuel. Well, Biffle definitely pushed it as far as he could. It's a good point to run out, though. He was off the exit of turn 4 anyway. It's barely going to cost him any time. He's still got to make sure he doesn't speed. Locks the tires up, which wasn't good because he is going no tires on this pit stop. So no tires and a full tank of gas. It'll be a splash and go for the 60. Hopefully that didn't cost him too much time, and hopefully he can still stay on the lead lap. And now a mistake. First race back for the regular pit crew, and a mistake on the money stop. They went to go fuel only, and it cost them about 1 second of time. He's going to have to pull up onto the racetrack, and here comes Kyle Busch. He already is at the start-finish line and roaring into the tri-oval, down into turn 1. Greg Biffle's going to have to make the car wide and try and stay on the lead lap. And Busch is going to just have to check up. This is going to cost Kyle Busch a pretty decent-sized lead. It looks like Harvick's rearing it back in. That was a costly stop for Greg Biffle and that crew. And there's still cars up to speed coming in behind these guys. Harvick to the outside. That's where Biffle's at. And he's able to get around Busch for the lead. Ron Hornaday up high with his teammate Harvick. Matt Kenseth is in the mix as well. Oh, Busch! Busch! Nearly turns the 60. Off of turn 4, Kyle's down to the apron of the racetrack. No caution for that. And we stay green, but Kyle Busch has not only lost the lead, but he's lost a ton of spots with it. And I don't know if he tried to wreck the 60 after he had slowed him down because of coming out of the pits and blocking Busch or not, but one way or another, Kyle Busch has lost the lead. Biffle's rubbing up along the side of the 21 of Harvick, just trying to keep his lap right now. Hornaday down low looking for the lead after the loss of momentum on the outside by the 21. And Matt Kenseth, Roush Fenway Ford looking for the lead as well. And at all costs, Biffle's going to make sure Roush car wins this race no matter what. But he still wants to try and get on the lead lap in case we get some sort of a late caution here. After 5 yellows in the season opener at Daytona and our second trip here for the summer race, unfortunately, there's only been one for Biffle's sake today. He'll get to the inside of Hornaday. He moves him up out of the groove, and he's back on the lead lap again. Stremmy's up to second. Hornaday's going to lose a few spots. It looks like Ashton Lewis is up to third. Harvick to the lead. Biffle doesn't want to bring out the yellow. Wouldn't matter if he's a lap down. 37th place right now. Well, Harvick in the wall, but Biffle got in the wall too. I think Stremme got into the back of Harvick in the tri-oval as well. And J.J. Yaley leads at Daytona, trying to win his first race of the season. He's a Busch Series regular. Harvick with a massive run, though, into turn 1, down to the bottom. Couldn't clear the 18, though, with the 60 in the way. Yaley's in the wall off turn 2. Will we get a caution? Even if we get one at this point, we're going to have less than 20 laps to go on the restart. Leaders have 20 to go at the line this time by. There's not going to be that many laps left for Biffle to gain many spots, and he would be at the tail end of the field. Now, what he could do, though, is pit for 4 tires. So maybe he wouldn't lose a draft having fresher tires on the restart, even with a little bit of damage. Oh, I should say a lot of bit of damage, at least on the nose. Kenseth looking low for the lead. 2x2 on the back straightaway. Kenseth, Harvick, 2 Cup regulars trying to win at Daytona. At least we're going to see the exciting finish. If we don't get a yellow, Kenseth into Harvick. And Harvick bounces off the wall. Kenseth up to block Hornaday in the tri-oval. He got into the left rear of Biffle and got tight off the exit of turn 4, but with Harvick on his outside, Harvick was a fortunately innocent bystander and all that and got squeezed into the wall. They're trying to wreck, they just haven't done it yet. Kenseth is the leader now. Kenny Wallace looks to the inside. Kenny Wallace is underneath Matt Kenseth for the lead at Daytona. Biffle's going to go down to block and help his teammate. Kenseth on the outside, but he's all by himself. Biffle blocks. Kenseth's in the wall, and Wallace is going to get to the lead. Biffle the block on Kenny. Barely holds on to his lead lap positioning still. But Kenny Wallace leads with 18 to go at Daytona. He's got a push from Hornaday. Kenny Wallace is just lap Biffle. Hornaday on the outside, pushing the 60. Kenseth's losing ground on the bottom. Horday's going to get underneath Greg Biffle as well. Biffle needs to get to the bottom. He's on older tires, so this is definitely hurting him. He is getting freight trained right now, and he's going to drop behind his teammate Kenseth. To the inside. Oh, Kenny Wallace goes to the top. He thought Hornaday was going to go high, but he didn't. He went low. Right front in the red for Biffle as well. Remember, he locked those tires up before he went fuel only on the last stop, so that definitely didn't help him. I guess now can Biffle help his teammate Matt Kenseth win this race? He's going to help him to second. Biffle had to lift to keep it off of Kenny Wallace that time, and here goes Kenseth. Kenseth on the inside of Ron Hornaday for the lead. Biffle's not close enough to help his teammate right now, though. Hermie Sadler's back up to 4th. At random. Back to the outside. There's just not enough cars on the bottom. Hermie Sadler's trying to make his way up there on the inside. Kenseth may still clear Hornaday because now Kenny Wallace moves in line behind him, but instead he'll just go right back up to the outside again behind Hornaday. Kyle Busch has worked his way back up to 6th place. He's losing ground. He doesn't have a lot of help up high either. Hermie Sadler gets underneath him. Kenny Wallace up to 2nd. And clear as Kenseth leads at the start-finish line. Biffle with the damage and old tires is having a hard time just trying to stay in the draft with the top 4 in front of him. $14 to go this time by. Kenny Wallace leads at Daytona. Kenseth's going to fall all the way back to 4th. Jockeying for position quite a bit up there. Ashton Lewis on the outside of Greg Biffle with a run. Biffle's holding this pack back right now. Lewis pulled down. He will. He was clear. Kyle Busch going to try to go to the outside. Biffle definitely needs to keep Busch behind him as much as he can. Busch on the outside, Biffle on the inside. Biffle's got help from Terry Cook. Cook kind of pulls out of line just a little bit, though. David Stremme goes to the outside. That's not going to help Biffle. It's going to help Busch. Biffle's going to hold Busch back. Kyle's in the wall. On turn 4, they almost wrecked behind him. Oh, big mistake by Kyle Busch. He's losing points right now. Menard, Terry Cook get by on the bottom. Biffle to draft with them. Look at how much Kyle Busch stacked the pack up, though, behind Biffle. I think there are 8 cars in front of Biffle right now. No real shot of getting back on the lead lap anymore for the Biff. We get too late in this race before a caution would end under yellow anyway, and he's a lap down as it is right now. And he's the only car 1 lap down. Maybe somebody else will DNF before the end of it is about the only other way he's going to pick up any positions. Kenny Wallace leads at Daytona under the lights, trying to win his first race of the season. That'd be a big upset. He's had some good runs this year, but definitely his best shot to win a race all year long. And Kyle Busch, who led laps with less than 30 to go, even after the final pit stops, maybe in danger of not even getting the top 10. I believe that's him in 10th place right now, behind Dale Jr. Biffle's going to do what he can to hold Busch back as much as possible. Those two are racing for the championship against one another. By the way, if the caution comes out now anyway, we'd have less than 10 to go in the restart, so Biffle would have to line up at the rear of the field, not even on the inside of the leaders. Staying low, he's going to block Busch on the bottom. Here comes Kevin Harvick back in the mix again. He's lost a lot of ground late as well. They're 3 wide behind Biffle. Busch, Earnhardt, Harvick. Busch pulls clear to the bottom in front of the 21. Will he go high to try and block Dale Jr.? Yes, he does. And he's really trying to get around Biffle, who swings wide as well. And now Busch down to the inside, makes the pass on Biffle. Finally gets around him and holds on to 9th. Biffle stays in the draft, at least to the 21 of Harvick. Going to try to help Harvick out, maybe to get by Busch. They keep going to the outside, and that is costing Biffle because he can't run up there, especially on old tires. Big run on the back straightaway. Biffle pulls to the bottom into turn 3. Getting a little tight. Clears Harvick. Trying to draft behind Busch. Harvick behind Biffle. That'll help. Kyle doesn't have anybody in front of him right now. I think Biffle might have a run to get back to the 5 car. 9 laps to go for Kenny Wallace. We have another slow car on the backstretch. Biffle to the inside of Busch. A little contact. He didn't get around him cleanly, but he got around him. With that slow car on the back straightaway, hopefully everybody can keep it off. Jimmy Hill in the 116 car. Harvick clears Busch. Dale Jr. is going to get around him as well. Kyle's outside the top 10. Harvick's got a lot of damage on the front of his race car. Biffle squeezes in front of Busch. Underneath the 21 car. Dale Jr. down low. Oh, Harvick's going to move down in front of Jr. Biffle's got to run at the last second as he side drafted the 8 car as well, but he's not going to be able to clear him into turn 3. Trying to get back down to the bottom and does, right in front of Casey Atwood in the 14. Dale Jr. is the 10th place car. A couple more cars out of the race all of a sudden. Biffle's up to 35th. Had a lot of engine failures after the first set of pit stops today. Jr. looking low under Harvick for 9th. And Kenny Wallace still leads at Daytona. Another block on Busch. Biffle not close enough to draft behind Kevin Harvick or Dale Jr. anymore. Big block by Dale Jr. on Harvick into 3 on the outside. Back to protect again on the bottom. Kyle Busch trying to hang on to 11th in front of Casey Atwood. The 60s making life hard for Kyle Busch in the late going. 6 to go. At this point, Kyle's hoping for a caution with a late restart so he can maybe pass some more cars in front of him because he's not going to be able to do it with the 60 here. Kyle's going to get underneath him. And he clipped the apron a little bit as well. Contact. And Busch's going to lose more spots. Greg Biffle pulling Ryan Newman today. David Green gets into the wall off of turn 4. Tim Fiedler down on the bottom. 5 to go at Daytona for Kenny Wallace. Both front tires are in the red right now. Oh, Busch got turned off of turn 2. He saved it, but he got turned by the 37 car of David Green. And Kyle Busch continues to lose positions. It's unbelievable. David Green got into the left ear of Busch off the exit of turn 2. And number 5 Lowe's car just cannot catch a break in the late going at Daytona. And is just free falling. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Kenny Wallace lost the lead into turns 1 and 2. And the new leader is Hermie Sadler, who led a lot in the first half of tonight's race. From one driver trying to pull off an upset to another, Hermie Sadler. Leads coming to 3 laps to go. Biffle gets back around Tim Fiedler in the 12 car. Now can Hermie Sadler hold on for 3 laps? We get to the final lap. Caution will not end the race, whether it's the yellow or the checker. Well, it's 4 laps to go for us, but it's 3 technically because we're a lap down. So it'll be 2 laps to go this time by for Hermie Sadler. He works his way through turns 3 and 4. We have a caution before they get to the white flag. The race will end under the yellow. I think Hermie Sadler will be alright with that right now as he's trying to block for his life. Both of Greg Biffle's tires are in the red right now. Trying to survive to the end. Kyle Busch is 3 wide middle in turns 1 and 2, being desperate, trying to get as many spots back as he can the final lap to lap and a half. Off of turn 2, he gets back to the outside. It's behind Dwayne Borland, who led a lot of laps early on in the race as well. And here comes Kyle Busch. He's on the outside. Biffle trying to pinch Busch. And he keeps it behind him again as the right rear gets into the red for Greg Biffle. Off of turn 4, the white flag is in the air. The next flag will end the race. Well, I should say the next flag will be the checkered flag. So it doesn't matter if we get a wreck or not. It's going to stay green to the finish. We're going to finish a Daytona race with just one caution, which was lap 7 when Borland had turned Greg Biffle. Down the back straightaway, Biffle to the inside of Borland. Trying to make a clean pass into turn 3, and he will. And heading to the tri-oval for the final time. Checkered flag is in the air. Hermie Sadler is going to win at Daytona. What an upset for Hermie Sadler. "35th for Greg Biffle today as he found himself in trouble early and couldn't get out of it. He'll finish a lap down. Worst finish of the year for Biffle. He hasn't DNF'd in the Busch Series yet, and this is about as close as he was to it. And for the second straight race, he's going to finish a lap down in the Busch Series. It's unbelievable. Hour and 27 minutes on tonight's race. Just that one caution for 3 caution laps. 28 lead changes today. A NASCAR Xfinity Series record, or I guess Busch Series record in this case. Hermie Sadler leads 32 laps en route to a victory. He definitely deserved it today. A max points day for Hermie Sadler with his first win of the year. Yellow line rule is not in effect, no. Not for myself, at least. In real life it was, but I didn't advance a position, though, either, considering I was a lap down, so out of technicality, I guess it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Kenny Wallace ends up finishing second. He led late, 13 laps, but unfortunately he did not get his first win of the year. It was Hermie Sadler pulling off the upset in the 0-2 car. He had a fast car. The fact that he started 11th and was able to get to the lead as quickly as he did in the first 5 laps and lead all those laps, definitely deserving of the win. Ron Hornaday will end up finishing in 3rd. He led a couple laps late today. Matt Kenseth finishes 4th, and Ashton Lewis rounds out the top 5. Paul Menard 6th. David Stremme 7th, Terry Cook 8th, Dale Jr. 9th, and Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 10. Kyle Busch ended up finishing in 14th. He did lead 11 laps today. Dwayne Borland also led 25 laps. I get the Technics games, from what I heard, enforce the double yellow line. Well, that's it. But yeah, he had the ability to turn it on and off, I believe. I haven't played it myself, so I don't know 100%, but I believe that was the ability. Yeah, Kyle Busch 14th, so a chance where Busch could have capitalized even more. He still will gain quite a bit. I mean, he finished 21 positions ahead of Biffle, but to not have a great day himself, he got 5 bonus points, but outside of that, finishing 14th while leading with less than 30 to go had to have been difficult for Kyle Busch to swallow. We'll take a look at that point standings, points margin here in a short bit. 3 laps led for Biffle today. At least he got some lead very beginning of the race before he wrecked at lap 7. Again, finished 1 lap down for the second straight race. Again, top 34 finish on the lead lap. We had a lot of DNFs late in this one with engine failures. Nick Richardson, Donnie Hart, Mark Martin, Drew Campbell, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Jared Holmes, Jimmy Hill, J.J. Yaley all blew an engine in today's race. And all from 68 laps to go on. So in the final 68 laps alone, we had 8 drivers blow an engine in the final 68 laps. You don't usually see that many DNFs in the Busch Series in this game. We had, what, 13 engine issues last night in our Cup Series race. And now we got to look at those dreaded point standings following this one today. That was not good for Biffle. That's 2 straight finishes outside the top 15 for him on this season. And heading into the Stacker 200 tomorrow at Dover, it's a tight points battle for both the Busch and the Cup Series. And for the Busch Series, we have even less races to go than the Cup Series. Cup Series, we still have 19 races left, but in the Busch Series side of things, we have just 17 races to go going into Dover tomorrow night. Again, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard start time for that one. Like and subscribe as well for more daily NASCAR content. We only got 12 likes on the stream here tonight. I know it was a shorter race with it being a Busch race, but see if we can get there. Ron Hornaday is actually up to second in points. He passes Kyle Busch, with Busch not being able to capitalize on Biffle's bad day. Busch is still within one race worth of points now, but he only cut it from 202 to 139 back. Ron Hornaday cuts it down quite a bit. He was 220-plus points back. He is now only 103 back after a top 5 today for himself. And he also did lead laps as well, a couple of them late, so he got 5 bonus points along with it. So Ron Hornaday now in the hunt for the championship as well. So in the Cup Series, it's a little bit tighter with 19 races to go between 2 drivers. Of Dale Jr., Greg Biffle. It's still basically a 2-horse race there. This one, though, it's a 3-horse race, but it's a little bit more spread apart with just 2 less races to go. But Biffle's going to have to turn around in both the Cup and the Busch Series. I have been struggling in both series here as of late, and I don't know what's going on in both of them. But like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.